All right, these next problems are just practice problems. So if you want to pause the video and try to work through them, find the sums of these different geometric series, and then come back and check your answers, that would be perfect. Okay, if you don't know what you're doing still and you don't feel comfortable, that's okay too. You can watch along, watch maybe through the first one and then try the second two. However you wish to do it there. If you need additional help, please make sure you reach out to one of your teachers to help you. The directions here state practice. It says find the sum equation using n and use it to find the sum of the first 15 terms for each series. Okay, so with this one here, letter A, you see it says we have 2 plus 12 plus 72 plus 432. Okay, and this one here, it says dot, dot, dot. But remember, this has told us that we're finding the sum for the first 15 terms. So if I wanted to find the sum equation, we're going to say, let's say we're going to find the sum of, the first 15 terms. Okay, we're going to use that formula, and I rewrote the formula up here for you in case you need to look up here at it. But remember, it's the first term, 2, times our multiplier. So our multiplier here looks like it's going to be, if I take 12 and divide it by 2, I get 6. So 2 times 6 to the 15th power minus the first term again, which would be 2, all over r minus 1. Well, that would be like saying 6 minus 1. So when you do this here, this is probably going to be a really big one. Okay, let's go in on our calculator and we can just type it in. Now, if you're one of those people that likes to type it all in at once, you can do that, right? I haven't been doing that in the other examples, but you can always do your, type it in like it's a fraction. Do 2 times 6 to the 15th power minus 2. And we're going to put that over 6 minus 1, which is just 5. We'll get our answer. And it's a big one. So it looks like this one is going to end up being, looks like it's about what? We have 188,073, 993, 830. So that would be 188,073,993,830. That's just the first 15 terms. That's what they add up to. So you can see how things, get big pretty quickly here when you're talking about geometric series. All right, if you were good on that one there and you want to try the next one, you haven't done it yet, pause it, do it. We're going to work through it right now. So again, we're going to just follow the same thing. We're going to plug into the formula. So we're going to find the sum of the first 15 terms. It should equal our first term, -1, times our multiplier. Now notice this one goes from -1 to 5, then 5 to -25. If you take any term and put it over the term that precedes it, it will give you your multiplier. -25 divided by 5 is -5. I could do 5 divided by -1, also gives me -5. So I'm going to do -1 times a -5 to the power of n minus a -1. Be careful there. That will trip people up. Okay, just that -1 to minus the -1 there could throw off the entire thing. And then on the bottom here, we're going to do our multiplier -1. So we're going to say -5 minus 1. So maybe we simplify that before we type it into the calculator here a little bit, right? I'm going to just still say -1 times -5 to the power of n, right? Because we have to deal with n before we can deal with those negatives. But minus a -1 is like saying +1. And on the bottom, -5 minus 1 is -6, not -4. Don't make that mistake. And let's go ahead here and we can type that in on the calculator. So we've got, let's see. We'll just type it in all at once here. We'll say -1 times a -5. Oh, you know what? I put n in there, right? What should I have in there? This should be a 15. There we go. Now it looks a little better. We have this to the 15th power, and then we just said it would be like +1. and the whole thing would be over -6. So we hit our answer there, and it looks like our sum is going to be, we have -5, 0, 8, 6, 2, 6, 3, 0, 2, 1. So -5,086,263,021. Big number. Actually, really small number, right? Because it's negative, but you know what I mean. All right, so the third one here. This one, notice our series is getting smaller. So let's see what happens with this one. Same thing here. We're going to find the sum of the first 15 terms. So we're going to say the sum first 15 terms is going to equal our first term. Notice we don't have the formula to look at right now, so hopefully you're able to figure this out. We take a term and put it over its preceding term. 80 divided by 800 would be the same thing as 1/10. So we're multiplying times 1/10 to the power of n minus 800, our first term, over 1/10 minus 1. So as we think about that there, I'm going to just simplify it a hair. We have 800 times, and I did that again. Holy cow, that's not an n, that is, we know what n is, it's a 15. So 800 times 1/10 to the power of 15 minus 800. Then what is 1/10 minus 1? Isn't that the same as 1/10 minus 10/10, which should be -9/10? And let's use the handy dandy calculator here and we'll figure out our answer. So we have 800 times, got a fraction in our fraction here, we got 1/10. You could do 0.1 as well if you wanted to. We're going to raise that to the 15th power, and then we're going to subtract 800. And then you could divide it by -0.9, or, if you already typed in all these other fractions, might as well. Let's see, we had 9 over 10, and it needs to be negative, so put a negative in front of it there. All right, hit it there. Uh-oh, what's going on? Oh, because I had that time sign in there. Didn't mean to put that in there. Let's delete. Come on, delete it for me. Delete. We'll just make that 9 negative. Some of the calculators are temperamental with that stuff. There we go. So we get 888 and 8/9, which is like 0.8 repeating. Right? You could say 888 and 8/9 if you wanted to. I wouldn't be mad. You're actually going to learn about dealing with those repeating decimals in the next lesson next week. So those are a couple practice problems there for you. Hopefully those helped. If you have questions, please make sure you're reaching out to your teacher. There's one more set of practice problems that you can do in the next video if you want to. If not, good luck.